The number 3 seed, Chris Melling, up against the outsider, Steve Munro. It promises to be a fascinating match. With me to guide us through this match is Lee Kendall, the England team captain. And Lee, how do you see it going?
Well, it'd be a big ask for Steve Munro to beat Chris Melling tonight. I fancy Chris Melling to win, especially with his snooker background on this arena. He could be a very hard man to beat.
He was awesome against Keith Brew in the quarterfinals, wasn't he?
It was awesome, brilliant, potted off the break nearly every time of the match and just kept running and running, and Keith just sat there in his seat. Interesting
point that Keith Brewer made to me afterwards, though. He feels that Melling is at such an advantage because of his snooker background. I didn't realise that this table is bigger than the qualifying tables.
Yes, it's an extra foot bigger, which helps with the TV cameras. Like normally you'd play on a 7-foot-by-4 table. This is an 8-foot-by-4 table. So that little bit of extra room with Chris's potting ability from his snooker background really helps him.
OK, well, let's just give the viewers at home the stats on both players. Chris Melling, the magician.
Yeah, great player, Chris Melling. He's won most things in the game, previous world champion, and he'll be hopefully making it his second world title this year.
And Steve Munro, we haven't spoken that much about him, an outsider, but he's got a good chance.
Yeah, Steve's won a lot of the little tournaments. We've never actually done it on the big circuit. Professional pool player from Manchester, Scottish international. It'll be a big ask for him to win tonight.
Fair to say that if he is to win, he's going to have to be at his very best.
He's going to have to break well. He has got a good break, but he's going to have to do it under pressure in this arena. OK, it's a superb atmosphere here at the Hilton Hotel. An absolutely packed house. I'll hand you over to our MC, Mr. Alan Hughes.
Thank you, Mark, and let's welcome the players in our second semi-final. And first, the surprise package in this year's tournament. Young, exciting and extremely ambitious against the multi-talented Devil May Care, young magician, former world champion and now favourite to win the title. Ladies and gentlemen, together will you welcome, please, Steve Munro and Chris Melling.
Waiting in the wings is Jason Twist, who will oppose him in the final. We've got the best seat in the house here to find out. The magician, Chris Melling, up against Steve Munro, Scottish international, and somewhat of an outsider, a surprise package in this event. And one thing about it, if he had any chance to see Melling's disposal, I suppose, if for lack of a better word, summarily disposed, in his quarterfinal of Keith Brewer, you can't help but feel like he's intimidated. Just an awesome performance from Chris Melling. And joining me in the box, as always, the basher Tony Holgate, and we've got a guest, and a very special guest joining us, and Lisa Quick, former ladies world champion. And Lisa, this is going to be a fun one, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be the way Chris has been playing lately.
Yellow ball's nominated.
Pretty hard to stop, I think he's going to be. But Steve played well last night, so maybe in a fascinating encounter.
Going to be a tall order to beat that man, though. The way Chris is feeling, and he went right ahead and told us the other day he didn't come here to get beat. Strong words, but he's got
30 seconds.
The game to back it up.
Come on, Steve. Come on. Yellow ball's in play.
And obviously the early problem posed for Steve Munro is that yellow nearest the left-hand cushion top of the table. Red and yellow glued together. And those will have to be matured if Steve is to win at this visit. You know something, Tony? He had plenty of angle to do it right there, and in not taking it, that almost tells us this man wants to try and slow things down a little bit.
Well, I can't believe he never tried to get the yellow out then. Like you said, Jimmy had a perfect angle to kick it right out there and then, and I think he thought, well, I'll just try and get the angle on this second yellow, and as you can see, he's not got it. I think he's going to look at the play of snooker. He's going to drop the yellow in the top left-hand corner and just dribble into the yellow that's stuck to the red there and leave Chris Melling snookered. But yes,
Time out.
I do believe he's going to have a tactic to try and slow Chris Melling down and keep him in his chair for as long as possible. And there you see our referee, Mel Harley, cleaning one of the object balls.
Time running.
I think Steve Munro's done that as a bit of a ploy. He hadn't made up his mind what he's going to do yet, so to have one of the balls clean like that just gives him a bit of extra time.
Long, straight yellow, bottom right, and the one nearest the red.
Nice shot, Steve.
Lisa, the tactics employed here by Steve Munro. I mean, against the onslaught that Chris Melling can throw at him, you feel this is his best chance?
Well, I'm not sure. I think he could have gone game there if he'd have just got the yellow out. I think it's sending out signals to Chris that he's very negative. I'm not sure it's the right way to go about it, really.
I always find it very psychologically damaging when your opponent can rifle off frames in quick fashion. It's like a slow climb up a mountain for you to get one.
Well, Steve Munro, he's got attacking options here, but he's going to refuse them once again. Trying to extract the extra visit from Chris Melling, but again, you can't expect a player of Chris Melling's ability to give him 2 visits. So he's still going to end up with that yellow stuck there. And there you can hear the fire alarm going off in the hotel.
Timeout.
You see the referee's called a timeout. Chris Melling just carried on with it. And the referee, Melvin Harley.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you slowly and quietly leave the arena?
And the fire alarm has gone off.
Incredible scenes here at the Hilton Hotel. In the very first frame, the fire alarm has gone off. The referee has asked the audience to leave the building. We're going to stay here for a couple of minutes. Lee, have you ever seen this before?
It's the first one on me, and we said we're going to slow Chris Melling down, but I didn't realise it's going to be this way.
Well, fortunately, it was a false alarm. Now, referee Melvin Harvey had called a timeout. Nothing has changed on the table, so I'm going to hand you back to our commentary team. Jim White is going to take over.
Yes, well, that's one way of slowing Chris Melling down. But certainly, time back in, you can see it. And the balls have not moved. Time was called, and this is the shot that now faces Steve Munro. Frame number 1 of a possible 19.
And Steve Munro covers the pocket well. I say it's probably a bonus that actually happened in the very first frame. If it had been the last frame of the match, it'd been very unnerving for both players. I think actually that alarm was Chris Melling opening his wallet. And here is the magician from Keighley.
How about that for your first visit back at the table? Red into the left center.
Come on, Steve. Come on, Steve. Come on, Steve. Come on, Steve.
Well, you having said that, he's got everything in the open. That, if nothing else, has put a little bit of heat on Steve Munro. Another look at it. But Lisa, he didn't miss this by much, but that's just how aggressive Chris Melling is, isn't he?
Yeah, I think when you've got the game that Chris has, he's just an out-and-out potter, and he really doesn't miss much. So he's only going to play the way he knows best.
I've got to feel the way that Steve played that, Tony. He was trying to dislodge the black, get it out in the open.
I'm not sure really what Steve was trying to do there. I thought he was trying to play up for the yellow at the top of the table when there's really no need. Steve Munro's just made this finish now a little bit more awkward than it should have been. I just wonder if Steve Munro, the fact he's playing the likes of Chris Melling,
30 seconds.
the back of his mind, he knows if he misses, the frame will pass him by. He's caught a final when he played Alec Evrenadis. Alec did miss a couple of pots against him, and you just know that's not going to happen against Melling.
It's all about position to that last yellow.
Come on, Steve. Come on, Steve.
Looking at that red beside the yellow now, guys, I'll tell you what, he's not going to be able to get right behind this black. He's going to have to make a pretty good shot on the black to secure the first frame.
It's going to have to be a pretty good shot on the yellow. This isn't easy either, Jim.
Yeah. What a shot there. Couldn't have struck that any better. The pressure has mounted. They're all for naught unless he can get this. Gathering his concentration. And another look at that yellow. Never touched the sides. And down it goes. The surprise package. Steve Munro secures frame 1. He leads Chris Melling 1-0 in the race to 10.
An incredible opening frame in more ways than one. Obviously, the talking point, Lee, is the false fire alarm.
Yeah, and I think it probably helped Steve settle down a little bit. He kept Chris in his chair, and he had time just to get used to the arena, because it's not very often Steve's been in this type of arena.
I was going to say, Chris walks out completely relaxed. Now, Steve is a bundle of nervous energy. It gave him a release, didn't it?
Yeah, and you'll notice during the match, when you see Steve play, you'll know when he's happy, you'll know he's sad. He's got a spring in his step when he's really playing well. At the moment, he has got that spring in his step.
He's up again already. He can't sit still, can he?
Yeah, you'll see all the emotions with Steve Munro.
Well, it's a great opening frame for him. Chris Melling about to get frame 2 underway.
And Chris Melling would love nothing better than to secure frame 2 in whippet fashion. He's knocked a couple reds in and a yellow.
Red and yellow balls potted.
Well, it doesn't matter which colour Melling takes here. He could turn around to Steve Munro now, and he could say to him, you choose the colour you want me to pot. Because these balls are gone.
This is what I talked about psychologically, Lisa. I mean, Chris can rifle off the frame so quickly, whereas it seems like when Steve's going to win them, it's going to be more of a dogfight.
Yeah, right now I'm thinking I might borrow Chris for my final, actually, and get him to break for me. You just can't, I don't think Chris can even possibly dream of missing from here. I mean, it's just such an advantage with the break.
Eight deposited, and just like that, the score is back on level terms. 1-1, the Magician versus Munro. It's a best of 19 semi-final. A long ways to go, but if you didn't know what you were in store for earlier with this man, you do now.
Well, I thought he took his time a bit too much there, did Chris, with that frame?
A staggering statistic from his match, his quarterfinal match against Keith Brewer. The longest frame took 2.5 minutes. He won 1 in 56 seconds. I'd say, looking at that, there was about an average of about 1.5 minutes of frame for each frame that Chris Melling won.
1 frame all.
That is staggering. Steve Munro all set. Frame 3. And he's got the break working. That's certainly going to keep him in contention in this semi-final.
Red and yellow balls potted.
Well, this is with the thing with Keith Brewer in the quarter-final against Chris Melling. He wasn't getting many balls off the break and leaving the table open for Melling. He was just finishing off all of Brewer's breaks. But Stephen Munro started breaking off very, very well indeed, and he's going to need a ball off every one of his breaks if he's to stand a chance of winning his semi-final.
It'll also be very interesting to see how he pursues this frame. It was very clear that he wasn't going to be attacking in frame 1.
Yellow
And
balls
it was
in play.
also very clear that bogging Chris Melling down did nothing to affect his play.
Come on, Steve. Great shot, mate.
I've always felt the best defense is a strong offense.
Well, Lisa, I know you're a very attacking player, and you played a good few times, and also your opponent in the final, Sue Thompson. That probably would be an absolute cracker, but watch Chris Melling play. This probably you and Sue are the 2 quickest players in the ladies' game, I'd have to believe, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, possibly. I'd feel a bit like a snail if I was playing Chris right now, but He just makes it look so easy. He's just round the table in a flash. I mean, like one shot, you know, one after the other in a minute or a minute and a half is just ridiculous. I mean, just shows how good he is, really.
The one problem ball for Steve Munro right now is the yellow on the right-hand side. Doesn't pass bottom right. So at some stage he may have to either try and drop behind it or develop it. And looks like he's going to try and double it right now. Not a bad plan. He knew he was taking that cue ball into an area so as not to leave Chris Melling anything easy.
Yeah, Steve Munro's got a very good brain in his head for the pull. He's had a little pop at that yellow, knowing full well guiding the cue ball into probably the toughest spot for Chris Melling. And Chris Melling goes away, and just showing that Chris Melling is not all about blasting balls in pockets. What a great touch that was from him.
Worth another look. This had to be very precise. Had no pocket there, all he could do was cover it. Well, Lisa, I don't know whether or not you're superstitious, but the last time you won this event, the men's winner was Chris Melling, who is still alive and kicking here. I mean, surely you must have thought of that.
Yeah, we've looked through the program actually, and it does look that if Chris wins, I'm looking better every minute, really. But we all looked at it earlier and in the team, and it does look like if Chris wins, I'm feeling a bit more confident, I think.
Whereas Tony just never ever changes his underwear.
That's a bit harsh, Jim.
Good shot this from Steve Munro. He's played some very steady stuff here all week, and Lisa, you can't help but be impressed by Steve.
No, I mean, I haven't seen much of him before I came to the World Championships, but he has looked solid, like you say, and he looks very sort of calm and collected, even though he looks like he's the kind of player who likes to be pumped up. He does look steady around the table. It doesn't look like he's getting phased by anything. So, yeah, I'm very impressed.
Is there room for this yellow to squeeze past this red and open the pocket? Well, there's your answer.
And will the cue ball go through the gap of those two yellows and pot that red? And if it does, Chris Melling will be going game.
Could he not play the red into the middle here, Tony? And well, obviously not. Well, mind you, he's also a master of English billiards.
You see once again Chris Melling cannoning the red round the table and screwing the cue ball into the yellows to knock his own red in, but great shot, but he's not left himself anything easy. Just got a cut in the middle pocket, I think.
Well, yeah, he's a little unlucky. He had his choice of reds into that side pocket until the one came back and covered it.
You could be looking at the red in bang in the center of the table.
30 seconds.
Well, there was nothing easy about that. Unfortunately for Chris, he could be staring at 2-1 deficit now, right in the face. And this is Steve Munro sticking to his guns. You've got to admire his tactics here.
Well, that's as many mistakes as Melling made in the whole of his quarter-final already. In this semi-final against Steve Munro, and Munro's quite happy to be the benefactor. Straightforward 8-ball into the bottom right-hand corner for a 2-1 lead.
Frame 4. Melling to slaughter that diamond. Reds and yellows. And nothing down.
Open table.
Another look at Melling's break. See his cue bending on the cloth as he struck the balls, but very rare thing there to see. Melling not getting a ball.
I wonder if this is a bit of an indication the way this match is going to go. We haven't seen Chris Melling face much in the way of adversity in this year's event.
30 seconds.
Yes. Red ball's in play.
Now, Pat Holtz probably gave him the hardest game in the last 16. Chris Melling eventually running out an 8-6 winner in that one. Steve Munro having a look to see the red goes past yellow on the right hand side rail into that bottom corner pocket. It's going to be screwing the cue ball now into this yellow ball next to the 8. And that now frees the 8 ball. But what's he left himself, Jim?
I think he's brought some company with him. Another look. And in dislodging that yellow, he brought it down and looks as though it's blocking the path to the red over the corner pocket. But it also looks as though Steve Munro might be going after things here. This shot will tell a tale.
Yellow ball's in play.
He's covered another corner pocket. Stephen Munro. I'm sure Chris Melling will be looking to go out from here. No way in the world Melling will have safety in his mind. Obviously he tried to kick that yellow out on the bottom rail, but I think he might have an angle. The yellow at the bottom right hand side of the table to maybe get the cue ball over.
He's got a number of problem areas, even top right as we look, with that red that Stephen Munro just finished playing. The yellow nearest the top cushion has to be a concern. Chris Melling isn't one to pursue a tactical battle, even though he can play that game if it's forced upon him.
You see immediately he's going to attack the yellow ball at the top of the table. He'd like to go just a little bit further. Made it easier position because he needs to get rid of 2 yellows up there. So he has to take the one on the rail first. The other one, the white ball will be sailing off down the bottom of the table. Great shot from Melling. And that's where he wants the cue ball. If you can get it there, he can pop that one down the rail with a lot of right-hand side and get the cue ball over to the left-hand side of the table and play that awkward yellow at the bottom into the bottom right-hand corner. This will be some finish should Melling get this. So he wants the white ball very close to the red that's covering the bottom left-hand corner. Well, he missed the pot and he didn't even get the cue ball over either.
He's still got the red up top right to Steve Munro. Now I'm going to throw something out at you two, and I want you to, you know, knowing Chris as well as you do, and there's probably not another player on the circuit that has more self-belief than Chris. Is there any chance he could have come into this semifinal possibly taking things for granted?
Well, I've known Chris for a long, long time, and I've
30 seconds.
only ever beaten him once. That game I had to deploy a tactic of dangling cheeseburgers in front of him when he was running around the table, which did slow him down a bit. So he likes his food, Chris, but now, sometimes Chris can get a little bit overconfident if he's playing somebody that he believes is far weaker than him, and he's, you know, he believes he's a superior being at the table. Then now and again, but only for a couple of frames, and all of a sudden he'll realise that, hang on a minute, I could lose this match, and then all of a sudden he switched up the gears again.
Lisa?
Yeah, I think Steve Munro's been playing, I mean, a very good pool, and I think if Chris lets him sort of think that he's in with a good shot of winning this match, because at the end of the day, all you want is the confidence from your opponent. And Chris gets a bit perhaps slack with his game. I think Steve's got a very good chance of maybe causing an upset here, but as Tony said, he'll probably realise in a frame or two, and he'll probably come out fighting at him.
Well, I think the alarm bell should be ringing, because he is in danger of going 3-1 down. And given that this is the world semi-final, you really can't take anything lightly. And I just wanted to throw that out there because I know that you two both know Chris considerably better than I do. And what a shot from Steve Munro there.
Also an element of safety with it. If he did miss that pot, he was leaving nothing. But what a great putt anyway, and it's perfect now. On the red next to the black, he's going to play the plant in the bottom left-hand corner.
One good positional shot from this red to Steve Munro's choice of pockets for the black. And 3-1 should be the score line we're seeing.
Come on, Steve.
This black shouldn't pose any problems for Steve Munro. Again, walks around the other side of the table first to check everything.
And then deposits the 8. 3-1 the score line. Steve Munro, the outsider, in front of the number 3 seed and former world champion Chris Melling. And Chris Melling, if he didn't know that he was in for a tussle, he knows it now. As great a player as he is, he's got an opponent that looks like he came fit for the fight. Nice plant here. And just in case that second red fell in, he was nicely on the 8. But Steve Munro has to be feeling very good as we again see that 8 deposited. He's 3-1 in front. He knows that he's got his opponent struggling somewhat, and he has been controlling the play. And that's got to be very encouraging. He's breaking well, and he hasn't missed many.
That's the key for Munro. He needs to get his break working or keep it working. Breaks off in frame number 5. Steve Munro. And again, what a great break from Steve Munro.
Red and yellow balls spotted.
Looking like yellows could be the order of the day for Steve Munro.
Please.
I think really all any player can ask for is a good break off at this level. Everyone's capable of clearing the table, and it's just so important. He just shows again. He's looking good for this frame, I think, if he can hold himself together. And if he can get a 4-1 lead, it'll be huge.
Well, the problem ball here, regardless of which color Steve Munro chooses,
Yellow ball's in play.
Is the bottom right. Yellow and red, obviously in trouble. Don't know if he wanted that in.
It's not too bad, because if you can take the yellow just above the red into the right-hand centre, you could just roll through for the other yellow in the middle, leave an angle and kick that red away from that yellow at the bottom of the table, and everything's all on. Just wants to knock these two in the middle now on the right-hand side of the table. They can develop the one at the bottom. And slightly negative approach. But can Melling get that red to the top of the table? Don't think he can. If it's a touching ball, he'll have to play away from it. And there you saw it wasn't touching, but only by a whisker.
But the yellows looking in much better position right now than are the reds.
Nice shot, Steve.
And Keith Brewer, as he looks on, probably saying, well, how come he didn't play like that against me? Keith Brewer never got a chance to control the pace of play.
It's another mistake from Melling. Tried to cover the bottom right-hand corner. Absolutely nowhere near. A little bit of concern. He hasn't got that grin on his face that he normally has.
This is uncharted waters for Steve Munro.
30 seconds.
And what an upset it would be if he could navigate a path through to the finals.
Be case a little bit like the hare and the tortoise.
Well, if he takes this yellow into the bottom right corner, everything will be in the open, and he won't get on this yellow any better.
Well, sometimes there's a case for using the rest. And Jim, I think that was one of them. Still on the yellow in the centre pocket, but he could have made this so much easier.
Would he consider playing this in off the other yellow? It just looks like it might be slightly easier, not playing into a blind pocket. Even though the other yellow is in a very inviting position.
30 seconds.
Played that very, very well indeed. There's a lot of players that play 8-ball pool that don't like using the rest. I know, Lisa, you don't mind because you come from pretty much a snooker background as well anyway, don't you?
Well, I do, but I'm probably the worst snooker player with the rest anyway, so I generally stretch as much as possible. So just happy, I'm happy to be tall, really.
Good positional shot, the order of the day.
Yes, Steve.
Very good shot there from Munro. Just going to drop this yellow into the centre pocket, dead weight. 8-ball will be going in the opposite centre.
You know, just taking that little bit extra time has to be so punishing for Chris Melling, because he's forcing Chris to spend a long time in his chair.
.30 seconds.
Doesn't want to be over the red.
You see where the cue ball's landed there. That's just made this shot 10 times harder than it would have normally been.
Yeah, I thought he'd play that in the corner pocket as he's just played for, and that just shows where my white ball would have been as well. So I think you were right to call it in the middle, Tony.
Having said that, the speed in how to play in the middle is always a danger to hit it too soft and not hit a cushion. And
nowhere to hide now.
30 seconds.
He's got to go after this.
might show a bit of emotion if he pots this black. Might show a bit of emotion if he misses it.
What a chance he had there.
We always say that. Chris Melling, what a miss there from him.
And here's the shot that Chris Melling just took on and missed.
Unbelievable miss from Melling. It's not the same Chris Melling that came to play in the quarterfinals, I can tell you.
Would have been hard to match that performance, but we surely couldn't have seen him missing the ball as he is here. And the 8 down, 4-1. Steve Munro now in front of Chris Melling. Unbelievable result on the cards here.
Steve Munro has got Chris Melling in all sorts of trouble. What is going through Chris Melling's mind at the moment?
Well, he's obviously under pressure. Not very often you see him miss a long pot, and he's obviously thinking, I want to get to this table and knock a finish in, and it's just not happening for him at the moment.
Munro, do you think that he's strong enough to go all the way in this match?
What's impressed me, he looks very focused, he's cueing very well. He was a little bit careless in that frame, but Chris let him off by missing the long red.
And Chris Melling's body language is very, very negative. Munro, he's so pumped up, isn't he?
Yeah, you can see he's there, he's wiping his cue, and he's looking very, very relaxed. He is an emotional player, so...
and he's got a lot of support here this evening.
Yes, there's a lot of people come from Manchester to watch him, and the Scottish crowd are behind him as well.
This a very, very big frame for Chris Melling.
6th frame, Chris Melling to break, trailing 4 frames to 1.
Chris Melling winding it up. He desperately needs something positive to happen, and he's got a ball off the break.
Yellow ball's potted.
Yellow into the top corner. If anyone can dig himself out of this hole in a hurry, it's the man at the table.
What a great shot from Melling, but you can see the yellow ball's rolled into the centre of the table. It's glued to the red ball. He's got a bit of work to do here. It's the one he needs to shift.
I think the way this match has started, it's important for Steve Munro to carry on the way he has so far. But the interesting thing will be, if it gets later in the match, when it comes to the last 2 or 3 frames he needs, is whether he can hold it together.
That's always a problem when you get to the business end of a major event and all of a sudden expectations are raised. Steve should have been able to come into this match with no pressure at all. Few expected him to win.
It's just not happening for Chris Melling at the moment. He's not cueing quite as sweetly as he has been the whole of this tournament, which is a little bit of concern now starting to creep into Melling's face. But you notice he's slowed down a little bit as well now. Against Keith Brewer, this man was running around the table knocking these finishes in. All of a sudden the pockets are looking slightly smaller and the ball's slightly bigger.
Not getting any easier. Chris Melling. 8 into the same pocket. And what a clearance he provided us with there. Still, the message is out. Melling is around. 4-2 to Steve Munro. But once again, the reminder of what he is capable of. And even his facial expression looking a little bit more determined. And this was a beautiful shot. He feathered that in so that yellow ball dropped into that pocket as softly as a butterfly landing with sore feet.
Leading 4 frames to 2.
Frame number 7. And Steve Munro, who has had the measure of the break off, winding it up. What a difference a few minutes make.
Foul.
Well, the worm's certainly turning away from Stephen Munro. Steve Munro going off the break straight into the centre pocket.
That was a la Phil Harrison.
Red ball's in play.
And these reds look very inviting for Chris Melling.
I think you can bank this one, and you can also say that this isn't going to take a minute.
No, I think normal service is resumed, actually.
Just flicking the yellow, maintaining position onto the red. And now just off the cushion, out for the 8 to the pocket he's bridging next to.
And that is fantastic position. Didn't even look at it.
Instantly, 4-3, and Melling to break. And look at his face now. Well, if Steve Munro saw that, possibly a message will have been sent. Melling is back, and back with a vengeance. The event's number 3 seed and former title holder will be breaking off in frame number 8, looking to square this match up. It's a race to 10, and this is what the crowd might well have come to expect.
Trailing 4 frames to 3.
Ball down.
Red ball spotted.
This is the storm that Steve Munro probably knew at some stage he was going to have to weather.
Red ball's in play.
Problem ball for Chris right now. If there is one, might be nearest the bottom right, but it is available. Just needs to be in the right area with the white.
Little shake of the head there from Chris. Had a bit of a bad contact on this.
Time running.
There you see, he tried to follow through the cue ball another 2 or 3 inches, and bad contact. Stopped it dead in its tracks. Could well be going upstairs. No, he's playing down the bottom one. Red goes into the center. And he's definitely back. Starting to speed up. And all the swagger that was here in his quarter-final is starting to return. Long 8 into the top left-hand corner.
Thought about staying on the table, but in the end, it disappeared. And with the pump of the fist, Chris Melling is back 4 frames apiece in this second semifinal. And he just erased a 4-1 deficit in a matter of minutes. Nice little shot here, just cannoning the yellow to hold position. And slightly overran what I thought was intended position on that 8. And then finally, the 8 disappears eventually, agonizingly for Steve Munro.
9th frame, Steve Munro to break, 4 frames all.
Well, there's little Steve Munro could have done. He's had the break off in the last 3 frames. And all of a sudden, frame 9, a ball down. So this is a chance
Yellow ball spotted. Timeout.
to reestablish what
Touching
little
ball.
confidence
Time
he's
running.
probably been able to muster the last few frames. And it's not
Red ball's
easy
in
for
play.
Steve Munro as well. When you get a player that can score like Chris Melling to maintain your rhythm and your pace, that's a tall order.
30 seconds.
A great chance here for Steve Munro.
Come on, Steve.
And that red ball just glancing off the cushion for a split second now. I thought it wasn't going to go in. It's as if the pocket jumped out and sucked it in.
I think Steve Munro better be looking for that fire alarm again. Good looking effort here. Just slightly overran intended position, but he still got the red to the bottom right. And one bottom left as well.
I think it's important that he stamps his authority on this frame. I think he needs to finish whenever he gets a chance, and as you just said, in the first three or the last three frames he hasn't had a chance, so he really needs to do something here.
30 seconds.
Nice control there from Steve Munro. Giving himself the option now of playing the second red in that line by the right-hand centre into the top left-hand corner. This is a great opportunity to restore his lead after watching 3 frames whiz by him.
Well, I feel he's big favorite too, Tony.
Thirty seconds.
No problem balls for Steve right now.
I think this is a really good performance actually in this frame, because he's been under so much pressure the last 3 frames not getting a shot, and he looks like he's taking his chance as well, so it's not all over yet.
Very much playing within himself, and that's the key to success in any sport.
And a good finish from Steve Munro. He's not laying down. Simple 8-ball into the top right.
And down it goes. 9 frames in the box and very little to choose between these two players. 5-4, Steve Munro over Chris Melling.
Great action from both players. Munro 5-4 up. He was concentrating so hard, didn't realise there was a mid-session interval, went back to his chair, but now he's just been escorted out of the arena. Tremendous stuff, Lee.
Yeah, I don't know who will be happy with the break the most. I think both players look like they're in the zone, and I think the score reflection of 5-4 is a good scoreline.
We've had it all, haven't we? Fire alarms?
Fire alarms.
The outsider leading?
Slow play, quick play.
Now what happened at the start? Munro, did he deliberately slow Chris Melling down?
Well, in the first frame, he decided to, instead of split the ball out, he played a safety, and whether that was deliberately to actually slow Chris down, I don't know.
And then Chris, to me, he looked rattled. 4-1 down, he looked really under it. Bearing in mind, the majority of the 500 people watching this, I think, have come to watch Melling. There was pressure on him.
There is pressure. When you're the #1 seeds, in your own eyes, obviously the 2 players, you think, well, I'm going to win this match, I'm going to win it easily.
Yeah.
When someone comes out with a 4-1 lead, you're thinking, hold on a minute, I've got to start putting some balls.
And then all of a sudden, the fireworks. Chris Melling, the one that we know, arrived.
3 quick frames, probably about 5 minutes, all of a sudden it's 4-all.
The bit that stood out for me was the emotion that he was showing when he was winning the frames. I've never seen that from Melling before.
Well, he's been relaxed, he's been comfortable. All of a sudden he's got to play some great pool, and end of the 7th frame he shakes his cue, end of the 8th frame he punches the table, end of the 9th frame Steve Munro punches the table.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. This is what 8-ball is all about, fast and furious action. We'll see you after the break.
If he gets a ball off the break here and lands plumb on the colors.
Yeah, he didn't get a ball off the break, but just look where he's left the cue ball. About as awkward as you could find on the table.
His cue ball was never touched up and down the table and just stayed on the table.
Thirty seconds.
If Melling ever needed
Red balls in play.
It's now trailing Steve Munro by 2 frames, and now the concern and the alarm bells must be ringing as they were in the first frame.
Great shot there. Didn't have a full pocket.
The hotel's not been on fire, but neither is Chris Melling. Nice bit of side there on the white from Chris Melling. See again, bags of top spin as you see the cue ball fire through to the side rail. It's going to be a test of Melling's mettle now. First time he's found himself in a match in this World Championships where he's been a couple of frames behind. We all know he's a great front runner. But what's he like when his back's against the wall?
We don't often see him behind in a match. Long black top left. Down it goes. Chris Melling snatches one back. 6-5, and the joint's alive. Well, frame 12, obviously, with Chris coming to the table and a chance to level things up. He hasn't seen much in the way of daylight in the semifinal, and he certainly can't put any between him and Steve Munro. But if expressions mean anything, Chris Melling looks like he can't wait to get at them.
12th frame, Chris Melling to break, trailing 6 frames to 5.
Frame 12. Hold on to your hats. And you can hear the crowd. They're starting to side a little bit with Chris Melling now. It's not hard to understand how he can win them over with his style of play.
Red ball's in play.
Another good opportunity for Chris Melling. Tries to get rid of the 2 reds at the top of the table now. One's gone. Next will be exiting via the top left corner pocket. Melling glides around the table. Nice to see Chris Melling slow down to just very quick.
Seems like every time Steve thinks he's pulling away from Chris, Chris has come back at him with a couple of quick frames, and it looks like it's going to be the same again. So he just can't shake him off.
And that was a nifty little shot he played there, freeing the black totally. And this for 6 apiece. In the blink of an eye, the first 12 show nothing. It's a race to 10 for a place against Jason Twist, the defending Embassy World title holder. And Melling and Munro are treating us to a feast of pool here in Blackpool. But some superb cue ball control. Working it around the table and making it look like child's play. Melling at his best.
13th frame, Steve Munro to break, 6 frames all.
Well, if ever Steve Munro needed a break and finish, now might be the time. He needs a reply yet again. Every time it's been asked of him, he has responded.
And the breaks just deserted him.
Open table.
Another look at it, Tony. Crushed that triangle of reds and yellows, and just not enough pockets on the table.
This could be the chance that Chris needs to take the lead for the first
Yellow
time
ball's
in the
in play.
match. You wouldn't expect him to miss from here. Just negotiate the cue ball around a few obstacles, but he should finish from here, really.
He starts to look more and more confident with every ball that's potted.
Yes, he's got that look on his face, doesn't he, Tony, that he fancies this now. He won't fancy that.
Well, that was unnecessary, Jim. He didn't have to move that yellow. He left it there, it still went to the corner pocket, but now he's going to have to develop it. Could do it right here. Maybe he's just doing it on purpose just to...
He's not out of the woods yet. He's going to have to play the yellow down the cushion. Very missable, this.
That is a fantastic pot from Chris Melling.
The only problem now is the black.
Slowly but surely he's getting back to his very best. And that spells trouble for Steve Munro.
This is what Keith Brewer was treated to in his quarterfinal match. This 8 for Melling's first lead. And down it goes, and finally Chris Melling has his nose in front. He's just erased a 4-1 deficit and a 6-4 deficit to find himself 7-6 in front. Frame 14 to come, and Melling will be breaking. And if you stopped to get a cup of tea, you missed the whole frame.
That was a tremendous shot, that last one. What a great finish from Chris Melling. Superb
Chris
pull.
Melling to break, leading 7 frames to 6.
Well, Tony, I'll never forget a quote I read that the sign of a champion is to recognize a problem before it becomes an emergency. And I feel that's just exactly what Chris Melling has done. He has sorted this one out. Open table.
Well, Chris Melling will be looking at the
30
red balls.
seconds.
But obviously his problem with ball is at the bottom right, and you just heard Tracy James call 30 seconds, our timekeeper.
Yellow
That's the
ball's
problem that
nominated.
Chris Melling's got. And that is the longest he's took to play a shot in the entire match. There you see, it doesn't pay to take your time. Probably the biggest miss he's had in the entire match as well.
It was a bit like he didn't really make his mind up on that shot. He's just played a shot and panicked a little bit there.
Still an open table, so you almost feel that Stephen Munro is going to be looking at yellows here. If for no other reason, it presents the easiest starter.
Yellow ball's in play.
Steve Munro again taking a lot of time. It's always been in his game plan to try and slow Chris Melling down if he can.
30 seconds.
I think the 30-second time call that we heard when Chris Melling was at the table before he played his shot in this frame was the first time we've heard it. Steve Munro, you get used to hearing it.
I think Stephen Munro is doing the right thing here. He just needs to take his time a little bit, maybe try and stop Chris, you know, a couple of quick frames, and he really needs to use the table time wisely, I think.
Yeah, it's like just going back and regrouping
30
again.
seconds.
And the yellow ball just caught the jaw of the middle pocket as he tried to send it down the rail.
Ball's in play.
Have another look at this. Just catches the middle bump enough to take it off the cushion. Now, does Chris clip this into the bottom left as we look and try and develop that awkward red?
That's a great shot from Melling. Gonna have to play the long red into the top right-hand corner next. But if this ball goes in, it's going to be frame again to Melling. And what a terrible miss there. Unbelievable. Those are the sort of pots in the quarter-final that he was knocking in with his eyes shut. The pressure still getting to Melling a little bit. And Lisa, you just would never expect him to miss that pot in a million years, would you?
No, I think there's some kind of mind games going on out there, because I think Chris keeps looking over at Steve and Steve's looked over at Chris, and it's almost a case of, I can do more than what you can do, and it just looks like they're playing a bit with each other there.
Well, it's all about who's going to get the last laugh.
30
I
seconds.
think Steve is just going to try and snooker Chris here.
Total snooker.
If you see Stephen Munro standing very close to the table, he's not gone back to his corner. He's eventually trudged back to his glass of water. Where's the cue ball going? And Melling fluked the red, but the bad news for him is the white's got in its 2 visits to Steve Munro. That's unbelievable.
Yes, anything but that. And now Steve with a chance to get rid of a difficult yellow down the left cushion. In an ideal world, he'd like to maintain that second visit.
Go on, Steve.
And now the plant. And really, Steve should be home and dry here. Still the second visit. Though I highly doubt that he's going to require that second look. This for 7-7. Confirmation. Stephen Munro is back on level pegging with Chris Melling. 7 apiece. And Munro will be breaking off in frame number 15.
You get the impression this match is going all the way. Lee, this Steve Munro, he's a tough character.
Looking very good, very solid, very confident, and all of a sudden it's a best-of-5 match.
Absolutely. I had the impression that Chris Melling was getting on top. He was just going to walk away with it, but Steve Munro, other ideas.
Well, you saw Chris miss a vital pot in that match ball for there. Can't believe he actually missed it with this cue action.
Best of 5, who's your money on?
Still with Chris, but he's under pressure.
They're both looking at each other. Lisa Quick mentioned that there's a few mind games going on out there. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, just trying to psych each other out. Steve wants Chris to know that he believes he can win.
Does he genuinely believe that he can?
Certainly, yeah, definitely.
Frame 14 is in the books. 7 apiece. And as Lee Kendall noted, this is basically a best-of-5 affair now. First player to win 3
Open table.
will be through to the finals.
Pure theatre here now at 7 apiece. Stephen Munro, see doing a bit of a disco dance there as he's trying to body swerve a couple of balls in. Didn't work, and it's Melling who's back at the table.
one problem red, certainly at this moment in time. That one bottom left. Mind you, it may still offer a plant to the one over the pocket.
He might play this off the yellow. Opens it up, and what a great shot there from Melling.
Didn't that just change the complexion of this frame in a New York minute?
And as quick as Munro gets back level, Melling just slaps the reds and the black in to go back in front.
And makes it look like he's at the practice table. A damaging blow to Munro. Chris Melling, 8-7 in front. And against the serve. Melling will be breaking in frame number 16 now. An advantage, Chris Melling. Tony, that was a big frame too. After Munro, and as you noted, Lisa, with those little psych jobs going out between the players there, and Tony, that was a big frame for Chris to fire back.
Was indeed, straight off Stephen Munro's break as well. It was a very good split. You said there was a problem ball there, but Chris
16th frame.
was very
Chris
quick to
Melling
remove
break,
it.
Leading 8 frames to 7.
And if he gets a ball off the break here and finishes in good position. Those balls didn't split all that well, did they?
And this time it's Melling that can't get a ball off the break, so
Open table.
opportunity for Steve Munro.
Not the sort of split that you're used to seeing, though, from Chris.
I think Steve Munro definitely needs this frame now. He doesn't want to let sort of Chris go ahead, and with needing all 3 frames left, so it's crucial he gets a ball in here, I think.
Seconds.
You just sense that this match is going to go right to the wire now. I could see 9-all coming. It's just been
Yellow
toing
ball's in
and
play.
throwing all the way through it. We still can't see a clear winner.
So many people were predicting a Melling sort of 10-2, 10-3 win, I think, and I think there's all credit to Steve Munro to hang in there with this, and he's just played really well. So I think it'll be good to see it go to a last frame, I think.
It looks like the only yellow that may cause a problem is the one he should be dropping on after this one. One into the left center. The yellow next to the red in the middle of the table will pass to top left and top right.
He's taking his time. Again, it's all about composure with Steve Munro.
Just slightly overran intended position. Now getting this yellow and on to the next yellow, not quite a formality. He's doing his best imitation of a traffic cop.
This next shot's going to be
30 seconds.
vital for Steve Munro, because you know he's going to have to remove this yellow ball next to the red in the center of the table. But just look how the reds are positioned should Steve Munro miss this.
He really hasn't missed many, though, Tony. You've got to give him his due. He came out here a very well-prepared player. He has stuck to his game plan, and he has been unfazed by everything Melling has thrown at him.
The adrenaline is now pumping through his veins. Another good shot from Steve Munro. I think we're going to start seeing some big bursts of emotion coming.
Just feathers this around the back of the last yellow, a little straighter than he would have liked. Either choice of leaving a long black or trying to draw back to the side cushion and out in the middle of the table. Well, they're stunned into the middle. Had a little angle on that yellow. This black for 8-8. It is in. The 8 deposited, and Chris Melling and Stephen Munro are now 8 frames apiece. And look at him, look at him. He already knows you're here to play. Rest assured, the number 3 seed is in trouble.
Melling doesn't want to have anything to do with the staring eyes at the moment. Supposed to keep his mind on what he wants to do. It's been an intriguing encounter, that's for sure.
17th frame, Steve Munro to break, 8 frames all.
Well, still can't separate either of these players. Steve Munro steps up to break off in frame 17 of a possible 19 frames. At last, Steve Munro gets some balls off the break. He lets out some air that is trapped in his body.
But he hasn't dropped on anything real easy, and it's a pretty messy looking table, in fairness. He's having a look to see if that red is available to the right center, and that would help him to choose reds.
30 seconds.
No easy yellow on.
Red ball's in play.
You've got to give Steve Munro credit here. He's, apart from the odd shot, he's played Chris at his own game. And, you know, to be 8-all with him is no mean feat at the moment. Nobody thought anyone was going to touch Chris Melling. So, all credit to him.
Total snooker.
Chris just having a look. Got to try and contact a yellow. Bit of an exhibition shot, this. That's a foul.
Well, he got too much on that one. This is an incredible chance for Munro. He's got 2 visits. And Chris Melling. See this swerve shot once again. He tried to hit the yellow that was nearest to the cushion. As you see, he got too much swerve on it. Went past that, through the gap of the other one. And that's a foul stroke.
30 seconds.
Must not be able to see that red bottom left.
Just going to use up his first visit here by developing his only real problem ball. And he's played a very good shot there. Excellent shot.
Second visit.
I think most of the audience are going to be in shock if Steve brings off this result, because at the moment he's looking like he's almost favourite, and I don't think anyone expected anyone to get near Chris Melling the way he's been playing.
Yes, Lisa, they just forgot to tell Steve Munro that. And that's what it's all about, self-belief. The way he's played from the outset, in fairness. Melling is fired back at him, as one would have expected, and every time Steve Munro has come back standing taller than ever.
Left the angle to get the cue ball up to the top of the table, where his last 3 remaining reds are. Black ball's not going to be a problem. Key to the frame now is position off this ball into the centre. And make sure he avoids the yellow balls. Well, he did kiss one of them, but it's not too bad. Can still cut one into the top corner.
I think you could fire a cannon off right now beside this table and Steve Munro wouldn't hear it.
Nice, good shot there from Steve Munro. He has a choice here. I think he's going to play the red nearest to the cue ball into the left-hand centre. But he could play the red into the corner, bring the cue ball down the table, but it's always a danger of running a long way away from your last red ball if you play that way. What would you fancy here, Lisa?
I think I'd just pop the one in the left corner and just leave a nice little angle on the red into the right corner to come up for the black. I think he'll have no problems here.
Well, he's opted for the centre pocket.
30 seconds.
And it's there.
Come on, Steve, come on.
What a performance from Steve Munro. This has got to be the biggest match of his life, and he's playing the game of his life out there.
In the biggest event.
Come on,
He couldn't have picked a better time to hit peak performance. This black for 9-8. It is in the center of the pocket, as many have been. Stephen Munro is 9-8 in front of Chris Melling. And look at him. Frame 18. Melling's got a ball. It's not going to be a clear-cut finish.
Yellow ball's nominated. Yellow ball's in play.
And he's gone for the yellows. He's got the angle on the yellow on the right-hand side of the table to kick his two problem yellows out. Always attacking. Oh, he played that very well. At 9-8 down, he's on the verge of going out of the Embassy World Championships, and he plays a shot like that. Such rapid fire.
Well, not to get ahead of ourselves, but if it does go the decider, Stephen Munro will be breaking. But it's down to Chris Melling right now to force Munro into that break. Nicely onto the yellow beside the black. He's also got choice of one into the center pocket. He's elected to come top side for the yellow nearest the cushion. Strange choice there, but if he gets this, and get it, he did.
This is a massive finish by Chris Melling under the biggest pressure you could ever be under. Fantastic mettle this young man has shown.
9-9 in Blackpool. We're down to a one-frame decider, and look at Melling. He loves it. And look at Steve Munro. They have served up quite a feast of 8-ball pool here in Blackpool. And I can tell you, folks, it doesn't get any better than this. Munro will be breaking off in frame number 19, and there's the customary handshake. What a match they have served up here.
19th and final frame, Steve Munro to break.
And Melling can only watch. Ball down. But look at this.
Come on, Steve. Come on.
Well, if it's not a touching balls, Melvin Harley's looking at it.
Red ball spotted.
And it's not.
He can nominate the yellows and take on this long yellow into the bottom left-hand corner. Tough call. He's going to have to get the cue right up in the air. But if he gets it and gets another yellow, he's got a chance.
Surely he can't play this into the corner without a foul, Tony.
Well, wasn't touching ball. There was nominated yellows. So Steve Munro's on yellows, and it's Melling that finds himself snookered with his first shot in the final frame.
Talking snooker.
First ball down is going to be the important one. It's this is just such a great match. It's brilliant to watch, really.
It's almost a shame there has to be a loser. Doesn't appear that he's left that one to the bottom right, and he hasn't. You've held yourself together so well, Steve Munro. You're playing the biggest frame of your life right now.
$30 seconds.
This is massive pressure.
Yes.
Jumps up pretty quick off that shot.
What a shot. As nervous as he looks, he's as cool as a cucumber when he's over that cue.
Well, he's got the chance here. This is going to be the biggest finish of his life. Plays the plant into the centre pocket now as you see him eye it up. And this will be the biggest shock ever that we have seen in these World Championships in its 11-year history.
Here's the big shot if he decides to take it on. Yellow top right. Help from above. He knows he's going to land on the yellow in the middle if he gets this one.
I think he needs plenty of deep breaths here. It's, as Tony just said, it's the biggest match of his life, and this is just the biggest clearance he's ever going to have to play, and he just needs to take a few deep breaths
30 seconds.
and play how he has been.
Just not happy about bridging over that red ball. That's what he's concerned about. So he's opted to go downstairs. I don't think this is the right way to go, and Lisa, you're shaking your head.
No, it doesn't look like it. It's a difficult up at the other end, and I think he was on it as good as he could be there. He only had to stroke the ball in. Now he needs a good positional shot.
He might rue the moment he refused to play that ball up in the top corner.
Waiting patiently in his chair, hoping for a chance. And only time will tell if it will come. Or Chris Melling will be coming out of his chair to congratulate the man at the table.
Just have to screw the cue ball back here into the side rail and back out again. He's played that very, very well indeed. He's going to have to play the one down into the bottom right-hand corner now. If he makes the pot up into the top right-hand corner, he should be able to hold for the yellow in the centre, which will make position onto the 8 ball pretty comfortable. There you see he wants the rest of the cue ball on that red.
It's just all about this one shot, I think.
30 seconds.
See Steve Munro just glancing at the clock there.
I think he's going to get this. He's feathered the red, and I don't believe he can see the yellow. Look at this. He can't believe it. You want the picture of a man suffering? Look at your television set. Just flick the red enough to leave him snookered on the last yellow.
He didn't know. He thought he was on it because he was watching
30
yellow go into the
seconds.
pocket. If you see his face, and as he turned around to look at what he had left with that yellow, you know, then he just realised he was snookered. That's when you see him belt the table. It's not a total snooker.
Down to the corner pocket, his only option. The chances come for Chris Melling. And Stephen Munro was 2 balls away from a place in the final. Can Melling hold himself together?
And all of a sudden, Chris Melling is turned into the safety monster. It's the first safety shot I think he's played in the entire match, just about. And he doesn't fancy going for the one shot. And that just tells you how nervous Chris Melling's feeling.
How nervous we're feeling.
If ever you need to hit a ball and fluke it, now would be the time.
Would he just try and feather the cue ball
30
into that red?
seconds.
Waste a shot? Or force Melling to waste a shot?
Well, that's what he's doing.
2 visits.
He's elected to give the foul. Don't think I would have done. I might have come off the top round and try to check the cue ball back and have a go at it. Because you've got to fancy Chris Melling to clear up.
2nd visit.
Well, that's not finished ideal. Block the red with the other. Is he going to try and snooker him again?
I think you're going to see Chris now take the ball by the horns. He's going to have a go at this. You won't see him run around the table like he normally does. Well, he's gone for the snooker, and you see Chris was concerned there, 'cause luckily the 8 ball is sat in the middle of the table because he hasn't snooked him behind the red. It's the black that's done the job for him.
That was an anxious look. Raced over to make sure that he still had the snooker there. But now look at the position of the reds. With each visit, they become more and more inviting.
Well, both of their bodies are now showing the nerves, and their shot selection is also deserting them. It's
30 seconds.
pretty hot out there now, I reckon. It's Munro going for the swerve. I'll tell you what, that's not a bad lead.
What a shot from Stephen Munro there. Shrugging his shoulders. Look at this. Flicks the yellow and hasn't left anything easy for Chris Melling.
Tell you what, I wouldn't have fancied that one at 9-all.
Now he's got to go for it. The reds are in the open. 5 of them left.
Great shot there from Melling. Yes, he's got himself on the reds. He's also clipping that yellow along the cushion, which means if he did fall out of position, he could get the white ball safe.
Down the cushion. The natural angle should take the cue ball up for the last red to the same pocket. This is very similar to a black we saw Jason Twist miss into the very pocket that Chris Melling is playing this red. Will it come back to haunt Melling? Only time will tell, and Stephen Munro
Time running.
can barely stand to watch, I'm sure. Look at this.
The thing with this shot here, he can actually play this red into the bottom left-hand corner, can Melling, and get the cue ball over to the top right-hand side of the table. So if he did miss it, he's not going to leave that yellow. Oh, he's mad. What a shot.
What a shot from Chris Melling there. The last 8. And he has weathered it. He is through to the Embassy World Final. A 10-9 win over one of the most game challengers you'll ever see in the world of 8-ball pool. 10-9 Melling over Munro.